Hey, hi everyone. Thanks for joining with us today. I'm Inakshi Pal, product manager at Amiboys. I work closely with the HR and people ops teams who deal with a lot of repetitive manual work every day, and I try to make that work easier through automation so that all the teams can focus more on the people and less on the processes. So, today we are going to talk about something that seems small but actually has a really very big impact. That is the employee celebrations regarding the birthdays and the work anniversaries in particular. So, we have seen that most companies already have this information stored in Jira or their other HR processes, right? And most teams already communicate through Slack in a manual process, right? Yet somehow these celebrations still end up being inconsistent, or sometimes even they get missed, right? So in this session, I'll show you how UpRaise helps automate birthdays and work anniversary celebrations, and how UpRaise helps to post them directly to Slack automatically using the data you already have without adding any extra work. So next up, we have the agenda for today. Here's a quick look of what we are going to cover today. So first, we will look at some of the common challenges like teams face when managing birthdays, work anniversaries, or any other celebrations, especially as the organizations grow. Next up, I'll explain at a high level how Appraise automates these celebrations using the user segments and employee profile data. And finally, I'll just give you a quick demo of where you will see how all of these things work in action, right? So, moving on to the next slide, we have the common challenges that people face for this. So, to begin with, let's talk about what usually happens nowadays. In many organizations, we see birthdays and joining dates are tracked manually, sometimes maybe through personal reminders or shared calendars, or mm, more often the more often the companies use spreadsheets, right? Over the time these spreadsheets become very hard to maintain, and people join, people leave, they move from teams or change locations, and keeping everything updated together becomes a very big task on its own, right? So because of this, celebrations sometimes even go out late, or maybe they do not go out at all, right? And even though it is never intentional, but still missing these moments can affect the employee morale, right? So even on top of that, like celebrations are not consistent, and some teams maybe they actively celebrate, and other teams don't even get the chance to celebrate, and there's no standard experience across the organizations, which can be a problem. All of these things add unnecessary effort for the HR for something that should really work automatically, right? So yeah, next up, we will just go ahead and see how we can solve these challenges. So to solve these challenges, we have built the celebration automation in Appraise. With Appraise, celebrations can be driven directly through the employee profile data. So for there, you won't need any spreadsheets or manual reminders for that. The system will automatically keep an eye on the user segments that you have created and profile attributes, and it will send the correct celebration messages to Slack at the defined time, which you have defined in the rule, right? For example, maybe if today's date matches with any of the employee's date of birth, Appraise will automatically post a birthday message to your Slack channel, right? And in the same way, when an employee will complete a year with the company, a work anniversary message will also be sent automatically. So here we have kept the idea very simple. Employee data will trigger the action, and Slack will receive the message, right? With the Slack is the destination where the celebrations will show up. So now that we have already seen how these automation that we got introduced with Appraise celebrations, automation celebrations, right? Next up, we will move ahead to the live demo. Okay. So in this demo, I'll show you three simple steps. firstly, how to create a user segment so that you can choose exactly which employees this automation will apply to. And this could be user segments can be based on teams, locations, or any other profile information, right? You want to select those particular uh, data, and you want that particular employee sections or segments to receive the messages, right? Next up, I'll show how to set up the automation rule for the birthdays and work anniversaries, where you will define the timings and even the delivery channels and everything. Okay. And finally, we will see how these messages are automatically posted to Slack without anyone needing to manually send them. So let's now jump on to the demo quickly. Okay. So here we are in the company directory module of UpRaise, and you can see here we are currently in the users tab, and we are viewing the particular user segment like we were talking about initially. So you can see here we have got three options here to create a segment, edit and delete a segment. So you can see this is a test instance of mine, and I have already pre-selected a segment which I have created already for this demo purpose. So you can see here we already have a default segments where you can see all the users, some active users, inactive users, and deleted users. And in the my segment sections, you will always see the segments which are configured by you, right? Which are configured by us, custom segments, right? So here I'll just show you how we can create a segment. So you can just simply click on create segment, and you can go ahead and give the segment a name, and you can particularly filter this out according to your use cases. So since we are talking about the birthdays and work anniversaries to be particular in this video, so I'll just, I have this pre-selected user segment here, and I'll click on edit, and I'll show you. This is the segment name that I've given. Next up, we have the filters which we have chosen, right? So you can see from this segment name that we have this engineering team birthday wishes, that is particularly for all the Indian employees. So you can see here the location is set to India office, and you can see the date of birth is in last week, which means I want to have the birthdays which were in the past week, right? And you can see here, I have marked this toggled as enabled, right? And this is treat as the recurring event. I have treated this event as a recurring event, which simply means that the system will compare the date of birth with only the month and the date, right? It will not consider the year. Okay. So you can, after you have defined all of your filter conditions, you can just simply click on save, and you can move on. Next up, we have, so you can see, since we have selected this user segment here, we have these two users here. Since this is a test instance of mine, I have already like very less number of users here. So you can see I have two users here. So who has their birthdays in the past week, right? So let us now move on to the setting up the rule. So here we are in the automation tab here. So you can see here we are currently in the automation landing page, which has a few use cases stated here. So these are basically the documentation of the use cases. UpRaise not only supports the celebrations, but also it supports various other use cases, which we have already talked about in other videos. So here you can see we have an option to create your first rule. Since this is a test instance of mine and I have already created a few rules for today's demo, I'll just briefly give it an overview. Okay. So now you can see, you can click on create and you can go ahead and create your own rules. So for now, I'll just simply go ahead with this rule, engineering team birthday wishes. Okay. So right now we are in this rules tab. We will set up the rule details first. So you can see here, I have already put a name for this. You can see here engineering team birthday wishes, and I have marked this as enabled. You can enable or disable it according to your own will. Let's say if you do not want this automation rule to run maybe after a months or maybe a year, whatever it is, you can simply disable it like this, right? Again, next up we have triggers. We have three different kinds of triggers here. You can see one is manual, second is scheduled at interval, and third is profile attribute change. So for our use case, we will today consider this scheduled at interval, since we only want this message to be posted in a regular intervals, right? So we will select this. So you can see here in the frequency input box, we have three options here: monthly, weekly, and daily. I have selected daily because I want the messages to be posted daily. Whoever's birthdays comes, they can simply go ahead and maybe get the messages, or maybe we can do it to weekly as well, right? So for today's reference, I have given it as daily, so that you can see the message directly in the Slack. So you can keep the start date as today's date here, and the default timing will be 9 a.m. in the morning. Okay, so you can simply go ahead and configure it according to your will whenever you want the messages to be posted here. So next up we have is we will have to uh, configure the timings. Okay, so now you can, since you can see the timing here is 0021 here, so I'll just make the I'll try to align the timing similar to this, maybe just 4 minutes after that we'll do this. I want since I want to showcase this message right away how it works, so I have set this timing like this. So next up we have this until this occurrences. So you can see here, like I have selected 30 as the number of occurrences, like 30, and I've scheduled it as daily. So this means that this will run continuously for a month. The messages will get posted daily for a month, right? So I have put it as 30. Maybe you would want anything. If you select weekly, you can select 7 occurrences or 4 occurrences maybe. And if you select monthly, then maybe 12 occurrences, anything, whichever suits your use case. So here you can see here that we have this current occurrence count as 10, right? Which specifically means that this particular rule has been run 10 times, right? Since this is my test instance, I have used it for testing purpose previously. So you can see here the current occurrence count is right now 10, right? Next up, we have this notify on success and failure. So here you can see we have three options here: notify only when rule fails to execute, notify for every rule execution, and do not notify. So this is a special input box to decide whenever you want this rule to fail. If you want to get notified, whenever the rule fails, you will get notified accordingly. Or maybe you want to get notified for every rule action, you will get that as well. And maybe you do not want to get notified at all, even we have that option for that. Next up, we have the select users tab, where you can get the users whom you want to notify about this rule whenever it gets executed. Right now, you can say here it is my name already shown because I am the creator of this rule, and hence it will come as by default. You can if you want, you can just simply go ahead and remove it, or maybe if you want, you can just simply go ahead and add another user for that matter. Next up, we have this cancel, save, and next. So you can simply click on save, and your rule will get saved. And next up, we will get redirected to this precondition. So the next precondition is the segment, segment which we have already talked about is the, you will have to select the user segments here, which we have already configured, right? You can see here engineering team birthday wishes. So here again, you will see all the user segments which were already there previously. You can see, you have seen there, even all those segments are present here, right? So we have, for our use cases, we have selected birthday wishes. Even for work anniversaries, you can select the work anniversaries as well. So next up we have, you can just click on save and move on to the next action. So since I have already configured this rule, so you can see here in the actions it is sent to Slack, but when you will be configuring this rule, you won't have this thing pre-selected. You will only see this add action button. So on click of add action button, you will see we have currently three actions, right? Distribute form, another is send to Slack, and third one is create work item. So for today's use case, we are talking about send to Slack here, which will automatically share the birthday greetings or the work anniversary highlights, right? So you can simply go ahead and click on select. So I already have this configured, so I'll just click on this. So you can see here we have this action name here. So you can maybe go ahead and okay. So you can maybe go ahead and give this action a different name. And next up, we have the select notification type. As of now, we have only two notification types here. Okay, so you can even preview the template. We have selected birthday celebrations for now. You can simply go ahead and select the preview template here. So on clicking of preview template, you will see this is how the preview would look like, right? So next up is, yeah, in the preview, I would just like to show you that this is the header you will receive and your app's name will be there. And next up, you will just see this message. You will see the people name, whoever has been tagged on that or whoever has been fetched to that particular user segment, and you will see the birthday for that. And you will see a message here that add your warm wishes in the thread to avoid the spam, right? So, yep, moving on to the next input, we have select Slack channel. Okay, so for this, you will have to get your Slack integrated with UpRaise, definitely. And UpRaise will automatically fetch the Slack channels which are automatically available in your Slack workspace. Okay, so currently we have these active channels here. So I have selected social, so that this particular message will get directly posted to the social channel. You can select any channel you want according to your convenience and use case, right? So you can simply click on save, and upon clicking on save, you will see that, okay, yes. So here you can see we have received a birthday message, right? So you can see here today's time. You can see today we have received this message. If you remember, we have set the time as 0025, right? So in that, you have seen that we have received this message in the 0025 12:25 a.m. here. You have seen that the app's name has come here, and next up we have this small message, and you can see we initially in the user segment we have got uh, two users fetched from the user segments, right? And even we got the same result here, right? And next up we can see the birthdays. We have seen the date of birth for them, and you can see the day of the so this day will be the day like according to current year. Okay, so you can see you can add the wishes in the thread accordingly, right? So here we have seen how we can configure the birthdays. Similar way, you can even configure the work anniversaries in a very similar way. For that also, just a quick overview. So in the same manner, you can just go ahead and simply give it a name and enable it and give the configure the triggers accordingly. You can even configure these things as well. And next up, You can just configure your user segments accordingly, and you can go ahead and select the work anniversaries. And similar way, you can, instead of selecting the birthday celebrations here, you can simply go ahead and select the work anniversaries, right? So, and you can select the channels accordingly. You will see the I'll just show you a template how our work anniversaries look like. So you can see here, instead of birthday cheers, we have these big milestones and a small message representing the work anniversaries at your company name. Whatever your company name is, it will just come show up dynamically, and you will see the similar way. You will see the names and the dates whenever the particular person has joined in, right? And next up, we will have this thing, like to drop a note in the thread to avoid the spam. So this is how the appraise automation works, right? So I'll simply now go on to my presentation again. Okay. Okay. So now that we have gone through these demo, right? So we have understood how appraise automation works and how it makes it easier for the whole automation, like all the HR processes. It reduces a lot of manual work like that, right? So here we are to the end of this session. So what you have seen today is just one of the examples of how appraise can help you automate the people operations using Jira and Slack, right? Starting with the celebrations. But there is so much more you can do with appraise automation, like onboarding, offboarding, distributing forms, etc. Right? So if you would like to explore this further, you can simply go ahead and scan this QR code to explore more. Here you can see this QR code available on the screen to learn more about our appraise, and you can see how these automations can fit right into your organizations. So that's it for today. Thanks again so much to you all for joining today's session, and have a great day. Thanks.